A letter from Dr. Catherine Morgan. I want to tell you about Harold, a patient who walked into my office 3 years ago. He was 67, retired from teaching high school math for 40 years, and frankly, he looked defeated. "Dr. Morgan," he said, settling heavily into the chair across from my desk, "I feel like my body is giving up on me. My wife and I had all these plans for retirement. Travel, spending time with our grandkids, maybe even learning to dance. But I can barely make it up the stairs without getting winded." Harold's story broke my heart because I'd heard it so many times before. Here was a man who had spent decades shaping young minds, who had worked hard his whole life, and now he felt like his golden years were slipping away before they'd even begun. He told me about his morning routine, or lack thereof. "I wake up tired. Even after 8 hours of sleep, my joints ache. I used to love working in my garden, but now even pulling weeds leaves me exhausted. And doctor, I hate to admit this, but my wife and I, well, we've lost that spark we used to have." I watched Harold's shoulders slump as he continued. "My doctor says it's just aging." "What do you expect at your age?" he told me. "But I'm only 67. My grandfather was chopping wood at 85. There has to be something wrong with this picture." As Harold spoke, I found myself thinking about the hundreds of men I'd worked with over my 30-plus years in practice. Men who came to me feeling like their best days were behind them. Men who had been told that feeling tired, weak, and disconnected from life was just part of getting older. But here's what I've learned in all my years of helping men reclaim their vitality. Aging doesn't have to mean declining. Yes, our bodies change as we get older. That's natural. But feeling truly old? Feeling like life is happening to you instead of you happening to life? That's often a sign that something important is missing. I leaned forward and looked Harold in the eye. "Harold, what if I told you that many of the things you're experiencing aren't inevitable parts of aging? What if I told you there's a simple, natural way to help your body work the way it's supposed to work, even at 67? For the first time since he'd walked in, I saw a spark of hope in Harold's eyes. "I'd say you'd better not be pulling my leg, Dr. Morgan," he said with a small smile, "because I've got plans to make good on." That conversation was the beginning of Harold's transformation, and today I want to share with you the same natural approach that helped Harold and hundreds of other men add not just years to their life, but life to their years. Because if you're reading this, I suspect you might be feeling some of what Harold felt. Maybe you're wondering if your best days are behind you. Maybe you're tired of feeling tired. Maybe you're ready to discover what's possible when you give your body what it's been missing. Let me tell you Harold's full story, and then I'll share the simple, natural secret that changed everything for him. 3 months before Harold walked into my office, he'd been planning a hiking trip with his son. "We used to go camping every summer when he was a kid," Harold explained. "Now he's 35, and we thought it would be fun to revisit some of those old trails." But as the trip approached, Harold found himself making excuses. The trail they'd planned was only 3 miles, but Harold worried he wouldn't be able to keep up. His energy levels had been dropping for years, and what used to be easy activities now left him exhausted. "I told my son I had a conflict that weekend," Harold admitted, looking embarrassed. "I didn't want him to see his old man huffing and puffing behind him like some invalid." This is the part of Harold's story that really got to me, because it's where I see so many men get stuck. They start pulling back from the activities and relationships that matter most to them. They stop making plans, they settle for less, and all because they've been told that feeling weak and tired is just normal for their age. But in my 3 decades of practice, I've learned something crucial. When a man starts feeling this way, it's usually not about age at all. It's about circulation. Think about your body like a garden. A thriving garden needs good soil, adequate water, and proper nutrients reaching every plant. Your body works the same way. Every cell, every organ, every system needs a steady flow of oxygen and nutrients to function properly. When you were younger, your circulation was like a rushing river, strong, steady, reaching every corner of your body with ease. But as we age, that river can start to slow down. The pathways that carry life-giving blood throughout your system can become less flexible, less efficient. This isn't about disease or illness. It's about maintenance. Just like a garden hose can get a little kinked over time, your circulation system can get a little sluggish. And when that happens, everything starts to feel harder. Your energy drops because your cells aren't getting the fuel they need. Your stamina decreases because your muscles aren't getting proper support. Even your thinking can feel foggy because your brain isn't getting optimal blood flow. And yes, your intimate life suffers too because healthy circulation is essential for a healthy love life. Harold and I talked about this during his second visit. "So you're saying this isn't just about getting old?" he asked. "Harold," I said, "what if I told you there was a way to help restore that healthy circulation naturally? What if there was a way to help your body remember how to deliver oxygen and nutrients efficiently again?" I explained to Harold that in many traditional cultures, men his age were considered to be in their prime. In some parts of the world, men in their 60s and 70s are still working physically demanding jobs, still active in their communities, still enjoying vibrant relationships with their spouses. The difference isn't genetics, it's lifestyle and nutrition. Specifically, it's about giving the body the natural compounds it needs to maintain healthy circulation throughout life. There's a particular nutrient, I told Harold, that your body uses to keep your circulation system working smoothly. When you're younger, your body produces plenty of it naturally. But as we age, production can drop significantly. It's like having a car with a slowly dying battery. Everything still works, but not as well as it should. Harold was intrigued. "What kind of nutrient are we talking about?" I explained that certain natural compounds found in specific foods can help support the body's ability to maintain healthy circulation. These aren't drugs or artificial chemicals. They're nutrients that work with your body's natural processes. The problem, I continued, is that most men over 60 aren't getting nearly enough of these nutrients from food alone. The amounts needed to make a real difference are much higher than what you typically eat in a day. We talked about Harold's diet. Like many men his age, he ate reasonably well. Plenty of vegetables, lean proteins, whole grains. But he wasn't getting the concentrated levels of circulation-supporting nutrients his body needed to function optimally. "Think of it like this," I said. "You might drink orange juice for vitamin C when you feel a cold coming on. But if you really wanted to support your immune system, you'd probably take a vitamin C supplement that gives you much more than you could get from food alone. This is the same principle." Harold was quiet for a moment, processing what I'd told him. Then he asked the question I hear from almost every patient. "Doc, if this is so simple, why doesn't everyone know about it?" I smiled at Harold's question because it's so perfectly logical. Why isn't this information more widespread if it's so effective? The truth is, many doctors aren't trained to think about circulation support this way. Medical school teaches us to treat diseases, not to optimize natural body functions. And unfortunately, many men just accept declining energy and vitality as inevitable, so they never ask their doctors about natural solutions. But I've spent years studying how to help men maintain their strength and vitality naturally. And what I've discovered is that the right combination of natural nutrients can make an incredible difference in how a man feels and functions, especially after 60. The key ingredient I recommend is something called L-arginine. Now, I know I said I'd keep this simple, so let me explain what this is in everyday terms. L-arginine is like a key that unlocks your body's natural ability to keep circulation flowing smoothly. Think of your circulation system like a network of garden hoses. Over time, those hoses can get a little stiff and narrow. L-arginine helps them stay flexible and open, so blood can flow freely throughout your body. Your body actually makes some L-arginine on its own, but production decreases as you age. It's like having a factory that slowly reduces its output over the years. By supplementing with L-arginine, you're basically giving that factory the raw materials it needs to get back to optimal production. But here's the thing, not all L-arginine supplements are created equal. Many of the products you'll find at the drugstore contain such small amounts that they won't make much difference. It's like trying to fill a swimming pool with a teaspoon. What you need is a formula that combines L-arginine with other circulation-supporting nutrients in the right proportions. I recommend looking for a supplement that includes L-citrulline, which works together with L-arginine like a tag team. If L-arginine is the key, L-citrulline is the key maker. It helps your body produce even more of what it needs for healthy circulation. Pine bark extract, which acts like a protective coating for your circulation system. Think of it as weatherproofing for your internal highways, helping them stay strong and flexible. Vitamin C and E, which work like a maintenance crew, keeping everything running smoothly and protecting against everyday wear and tear. The beauty of this approach is that you're not forcing your body to do anything unnatural. You're simply giving it the tools it needs to function the way it's designed to function. I started Harold on a high-quality supplement that contained all of these ingredients in therapeutic amounts. Take this twice a day, I told him, and give it at least 8 weeks to build up in your system. This isn't like taking an aspirin for a headache. You're rebuilding your body's circulation support from the ground up. Harold was committed to giving it a fair try. "What should I expect?" he asked. "Every man is different," I explained, but many of my patients notice increased energy within the first few weeks. Some report better sleep, easier morning workouts, improved mood, and yes, many couples find that their intimate life improves as well. I also gave Harold some lifestyle recommendations to support the supplement. Make sure you're walking every day, even if it's just around the block. Movement helps circulation naturally. Stay hydrated. Think of water as oil for your engine, and try to manage stress, because chronic tension can interfere with healthy circulation. 2 months later, Harold came back for a follow-up appointment. The change was remarkable. He walked into my office with a spring in his step that hadn't been there before. "Doc," he said, grinning, "I think you might be onto something." Harold's transformation was exactly what I'd hoped for, but it still filled me with joy to see it happen. "I have to tell you," Harold said, settling into the chair across from my desk, but this time with energy and enthusiasm rather than exhaustion. "I wasn't sure I believed this would work, but I'm a man of my word, so I stuck with the program you outlined." He went on to describe the changes he'd noticed. "The first thing was my morning energy. I used to drag myself out of bed and need 2 cups of coffee just to feel human. Now I wake up actually feeling rested. I'm up before my alarm most days." Harold had also returned to his beloved garden. "Last weekend, I spent 4 hours planting and weeding. 4 hours. And I felt great afterward. My wife kept checking on me, convinced I was going to collapse, but I had energy to spare." But the change that meant the most to Harold was reconnecting with his son. "Remember that hiking trip I canceled? We rescheduled it for last month. Not only did I keep up, but I was the one suggesting we extend the trail. My son couldn't believe it." Harold's wife had noticed the changes too. "She says I'm like the man she married again," Harold told me with a slightly embarrassed but very pleased smile. "We're planning that European trip we talked about for years, but never thought we'd have the energy for. This is why I love what I do. It's not about adding years to your life, though that's certainly important. It's about adding life to your years. It's about giving men the vitality they need to pursue their dreams, strengthen their relationships, and enjoy every day to the fullest." Harold's story isn't unique. In my practice, I've worked with hundreds of men who have experienced similar transformations, simply by supporting their body's natural circulation processes. Men who went from feeling like spectators in their own lives to feeling like active participants again. The solution isn't complicated, but it does require commitment. You have to be willing to invest in high-quality supplements and give them time to work. You have to be willing to support your efforts with healthy lifestyle choices. And you have to believe that you deserve to feel vibrant and strong, regardless of what the calendar says. If you're reading this and thinking about Harold's story, I want you to know that it's not too late for you. Whether you're 60 or 80, your body still has an incredible capacity to respond to the right support. I've seen it happen over and over again. Take care of yourself, Dr. Catherine Morgan, Men's Vitality Specialist.